Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Chapter 18, known as Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Presently, verse number 49. The essence of the Gita is being given in this last chapter. The most essential points that must enter into everyone's life. Asakta Buddhi sarvatra Jitatma vigata spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena digacchati. He who possesses an intellect that is detached in every way, called Asakta Buddhi. Let your Buddhi do all the work. Recognize every situation. Tea is boiling, look at it. Someone is annoyed, look at it. Person suffering due to some reason comes, shedding a lot of tears. Look at it, don't start shedding tears. Asakta Buddhi has subtle meaning behind it. And all these qualities are not developed easily, but you have to understand what you have to develop, the ideal. No matter how much mistake you make, doesn't matter. So, Asakta Buddhi sarvatra, wherever, whatever is the field of your activity, wherever your intellect is exercised, and when you have nothing else to do, you are thinking about yourself, things of the past, expectations of future, do it all Asakta Buddhi. Asakt, don't get shaken. Something, a bad memory comes from your childhood, you start shaking. A good imagination comes for future, and you become so elated. If you do that, then you are not practical. You are not living your life, living in the past, living in the future. The present is escaping your fingers. And looking at yourself, Asakta Buddhi, come to recognize. I'm now leading you to higher level of asakt. Come to recognize physical body is not me. It's an instrument. Vital sheaths, pranas, they are also instruments that sustain your body. Mind, intellect, ego, even the very unconscious stuff, chitta, they are all not I am. So, be asakt. You will not have the same chitta set mind stuff all the time. It's going to change. Remain detached. Your intellect will not be the same. In childhood days, your intellect knew how to play with yogi bears, etc. Don't stay stuck with that type of intellect. I'm joking, but the idea to understand. So many things are come within the range of your intellect. And understand what is of value. And if it is not of value, let go. Don't hold on. Asakta Buddhi sarvatra. Turning to yourself, Asakta Buddhi leads you to discover Supreme Self alone is real. The body is not real, the mind is not real, intellect is not real. A little of that experience comes to you in deep sleep. All this is not there. And how do you exist without the body, without the mind, without the time, without the space? You don't miss anything. That's your reality. So, Asakta Buddhi. Secret of Asakta Buddhi is developing love of God. Unless you have found something profound, you will not let go things you are holding on to. So if Godward movement starts, love of God, and that again doesn't come easy, you have to have satsanga, japa, swadhyaya, study of scripture, life dedicated to integral yoga, all that. I will not go into too much details. But simple illustration is given. If you are handling green platanos and jackfruits, they get stuck to your fingers. What's the remedy? Not to get stuck. Smear oil in your fingers. Especially till oil, I'm joking. Similarly, allow love of God to spread over your heart. Besmear a little love of God. Once that has happened, you can handle most sticky situations, asperse, untouched. Next point, Jitatma, implies control over your mind and senses. The lower self is under your control. You have conquered your lower self. That's what Jitatma, Jit is conquered. Atma, the self, but not the big self, the lower self. You have conquered your lower self, you are Jitatma. And how can you conquer your lower self? Or how can you conquer your mind and senses? There's so many wonderful things in this world. Now, getting insight into it, understand the world around you is not exactly as your senses perceive. You see the sky blue, your eyes perceive the blue sky. But that's not real. And that's, I'll give one example. There's millions of examples. You are seated on the floor and everything is quiet. It's not real. You are in an aircraft. The whole Earth planet is moving. Your senses are limited. If your eyes had a different capacity, you could see things like vultures see from a long distance. There are animals that have such capacity in their nose. They smell what is 4 miles away, though they possess only little nose. So your nose doesn't know. Coming to a more serious way to talk, there are three types of illusion. Satyaktva Bhranti, Sanskrit word is Bhranti. Things appear real. And what they prove for reality for masses? I touched it, I smelled it, I tasted it. So therefore it's real. But that I have already explained, that's not the proof of reality. So that's a Bhranti. The idea things are real. That's from practical point of view, it's okay. But if you want to be serious about it, want to understand the truth that promotes liberation, then you have to understand that we're living not to become comfortable with objects of the world. We're living in order to turn Godwards, to attain self-realization. So coming back again, those 3 points. Firstly, Satyatva Bhranti, the delusion that objects are real. Next Bhranti is a bigger Bhranti. Ishtatva Bhranti. All that I have to do is to get the object of my desire and live happily ever after. And then, what is the object of your desire? Your mind moves on to countless things. एक दिल के टुकड़े हजार हुए. Your heart's love breaks into so many pieces. One piece you left in India, another piece left in Miami. If you have traveled to Alaska, another piece was there. Put yourself to a little more broader way. Living through many lives, in each personality, you had lots of near and dear ones. And you are so fascinated by them, lived a life of whatever. I'm not going to describe too much. But where are they? So what is there in the world that you can get hold of and be happy? There is no such thing. What is there in your dream that you can get hold of and never wake up? If you have to wake up, then you have to get everything out. And the third Bhranti is called Samichinvatva Bhranti. The idea that you have worked hard and you have gotten it and you have grasped it. It is right in your hand, laddu in your hand. And we show it. See the proof. It's my hand and I'm holding it. You say, oh yes. But both are liars. Because firstly, hand itself is your mental projection. It's the brain's interpretation. And whatever you are holding in your hand, I have already explained, simply because we are seeing it, tasting it, that doesn't make it real. So the idea that things can be drawn to yourself, that again is a big illusion. To understand more in a different context, people live together in karmic relation, and there comes a time when someone departs. And all near and dear ones are there. They can't do anything about it. And suddenly, shockingly, the news comes, where did this dear one go? The body is there, but where did he go? The idea that I was with this personality for such a long time. You were not. You are not even with yourself all the time. Profound way, yes. The self is always there, but you don't have that awareness. So when you develop that understanding that objects of the world are mithya, illusory, controlling the senses and mind becomes an easy process. But there are many stages. In the beginning stage, you use your discriminative intellect to differentiate between what things that are helpful to you, things that are harmful to you. Avoid the harmful objects. Take, for example, just food. Avoid harmful food. Take food that is really nutritious. Avoid wrong association, even though in that association you have many spicy talks going on. Lots of gossips, lots of appears very pleasing to the ears. But avoid that type of. Go after those types of associations that enrich your inner personality. Next one called Jatirekam, which means you come to recognize that certain senses are under your control. You have the degrees of control. You can control yourself to a certain limit, but beyond that you can't. So therefore you avoid those situations where which is uncontrollable for you. Next term is called ekendriyam. You come to a stage, you become confident that it's a matter of my mind. Let there be objects of senses of all types. But if my mind has not developed that will, that let me have that object, the objects can do you no harm. If you come to that stage, it's an advanced state of control. Mind is your problem, not objects. And then even that mind is transcended. Up till this stage is called apara Vairagya, lower Vairagya. You come to a state of controlling the mind. Next stage comes ekendriyam. Ekendriyam is enlightenment is entering in your personality. I'm leading you to a very advanced state. Let me get back to the understanding. When you have come to this state, mind is the only organ, speaking figuratively, that needs to be controlled. You have controlled the senses and you are not worried about them. And if the mind also comes under control by your practice of samadhi, then called vashikara state. But even that state is not the ultimate. Up till this state is called apara Vairagya, lower Vairagya. Now there comes another stage of completely dissolving or turning away from the entire mindset. This point I have this point a little serious matter, and an aspirant has to work on it. Just like you are watching a cinema show and you develop this taste for the show. But this taste has different stages. Suddenly the show becomes more comical and we like it. So there are degrees of control. Come to a stage you realize, oh, these are actors and this is nothing. You come to a shikara state, an ekendriyam state. Your mind is the only one that allows the imagination or can withdraw the imagination. But the highest state comes when the entire cinema show is rolled up. There is nothing but the screen. Raja Yoga terms it bhava pratyaya, pratyaya bhava. And I'm not going to too much in that direction. Third point, vigata spriha. Spriha term is synonym for lobh. Lobh is greed. And when one of the impurities is mentioned, it's called upalakshana. It relates to all impurities. In other words, in the category of mala, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, perverted desires, kama, krodha, anger, lobha, greed, moha, deluded dealings with people, mada, conceit, pride, matsarya, jealousy towards others. These are also only the generals of the army of impurities. All the impurities require a whole volume. And it is a profound task. That's where the challenge of life is. Live to attain nirmal state of mind, mind devoid of mala. Then only you are normal. Otherwise you are abnormal human personality. And the next point it says, he attains perfection through renunciation. When you add up all that you have heard, that's the definition of renunciation. Sannyasa. So what is done by receiving sannyasa initiation is to introduce yourself to that path. You don't become a sannyasi by initiation, but it introduces you to the path. And real sannyasa comes when you have developed these qualities. And to reiterate those qualities, allowing devotion to enter, and promoting Ishwararpana Buddhi. Whatever you do, add to it, I offer it to God, not to ego. Developing anasakti, detachment towards all, having objective vision. And the highest example is the sky. Sky is always untouched by all things that move in the sky, clouds, etc. And the sky welcomes them. I'm speaking allegorically. But the sky remains untouched. Similarly, you see in your mind clouds of things come in, which you have no control over. But one thing is there in your power, by Godward movement, developing detachment. Oh God, this is your headache, not mine. You have 1,000 heads, so you are safe. I'm joking. So, Ishwararpana Buddhi, developing detachment, controlling the mind and senses, and becoming free of malos, impurities. Add them all together, you are a sannyasi. Real sannyasa. What else have you to do? Nothing. If you have become a real sannyasi, you are the absolute. You have gotten the royal gate to liberation. Siddhim prapto yaya brahma tathapnoti nibodhame samasena iva kaunteya nishtha jnanasya ya para. O son of Kunti, hear now from me the manner in which one having attained perfection attains Brahman, that which is the highest culmination of wisdom. Now this point is further explained, that if you have attained the sannyasa level, how does it allow you to become perfect? Liberation, moksha, that's the climax of jnana yoga, or climax of yoga. That's the ultimate goal. But how does it happen? And this is being explained now in a summarily, quintessence. Buddhya vishuddhya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayans tyaktva ragadveshau vidasya cha. Endowed with a pure intellect, buddhya vishuddhaya, shuddha buddhi, firmly controlling the mind and the senses. The term firm, dhrityatmanam, the quality of dhriti, that's a very profound quality. Hindu scriptures repeat it again and again. There are 10 great qualities of dharma. Dharma is the path of righteousness. That's the beginning stage leading you to the ultimate goal, moksha. Yato dharmas tato jaya. You follow the path of dharma, victory is yours. And what are the 10 points? I'm just giving you information. Dhitikshama namasteam shaucham indriya nigraha dhiri vidya satyam akrodho dashakam dharma lakshanam. Dhriti, holding on to your spiritual project, no matter how things are, unshaken. This is what I talked before in a humorous way. The Hindi word is dat. Dhriti, D-H, R-I-T-I, D and T in it, dat. Dat means stay firm. You may say, my legs are weak, how can I stay firm? But not counting on yourself for being firm. God within you. God is the reality within you. And with faith in God, you develop that firmness. You don't allow adversity to drown you in sorrow and dejection, but allow adversity to come as a storm and pass on, proving that you are stronger than that storm. because of God's help behind you. That's the foremost characteristic of Dharma, Dhriti, that's the first point. Kshama, next characteristic, forgiveness. Don't go on recording others' mistakes. Presently, I'm going to just give you simple, quick meaning. Otherwise, each term requires a volume. Dhamma, controlling the mind and senses. Asteya, non-stealing. The steal term also has a subtler meanings. When you deprive a person of his success, someone is going for examination, and somehow you stole his books or discouraged him from doing that because you are jealous of his progress. Then that also comes under stealing. We interfere with others' business with a foxy policy. That's stealing. Stealing doesn't mean exactly like what you understand by thieves, but there are so many ways of stealing. It's an exaggerated type of greed that is uncontrolled. Shaucham, purity of body and mind. Indriya nigraha, mastering the mind and senses. Dhi, having purified intellect. Vidya, developing spiritual knowledge. Satyam, moving towards truth. And the climax, the mind will not be agitated. Agitated implying you will not finger point that that person has been my source of my trouble. Akrodho, there is no krodh towards anyone, no anger towards anyone. There is nothing angerable. All is lovable. Look at your whole body from toes to the head. You don't really deal with your body with anger. Every now and then your teeth bite the tongue. Don't deal with that with anger. So if you want to possess cosmic body, then all become part of your personality. Endowed with pure intellect, firmly controlling the mind and the senses, having renounced sound and other objects of the senses, and abandoning attachment and hatred. That's just an extension of what we have already talked about. When we talk about detaching from all objects and turning away from the world, you must always remember that this is figurative language. First point, you do not stop your duties. Duties that have come in your life, pursue them only with the discrimination that they should be in harmony with your progress. Don't get into that type of work that is simply for money and not for your inner progress. In other words, pursue swadharma, the duty that really gives you joy internally. And if you do it better, it will not give you ordinary joy, it will lead you to peace. You will not fall into pieces. So continue with good karma. with the understanding that not negative karmas, not rajasic, tamasic, good karmas, and while doing them, go on developing a sense, God is making me do this, I'm an instrument. And similarly, continue using your intellect, mind, senses, because if you are performing any karma, all this must be active in you. So the idea that you should control them completely should not be in the sense you shut them up. It simply means you allow them to be utilized in a profound way. To give you simpler illustration, jokingly, scriptures talk about practice of mauna, silence. Some people take it literally. They stay stuck with mauna for weeks. It's a discipline. To the extent you are aware that it's a discipline and you are using it from that point of view, that's okay. But this is not the real teaching. People who talked about mauna, God is absolute silence, they have produced the greatest literature. They're the most talkative people in the world. So you can be eloquent. You can be talking day and night and enjoying mauna. You can be handling millions of dollars and you can be absolute sannyasi. Don't get confused. I'm not asking you to become that. Don't go after dollars. 52nd verse. Vivikta sevi lagvashi yatava kaya manasa dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashrita. Living in solitude. Vivikta sevi. Eating but little. Engaged in controlling speech, body and mind, ever devoted to the yoga of meditation and being supported by Vairagya, dispassion. Let me just give you, I will not have time to give the whole thing, but a few points. Living in solitude. In Hindi language we say ekant. Hindi as well as Sanskrit. Ekant. You are reading some stories of kings, etc. It's a favorite language. The king suddenly walks, get away, I will be ekant. But what does it really mean, ekant? You can be physically alone and you can be so crowded that it will be better if you were not alone. You will find more relief from the crowd being in a congenial atmosphere. So, ekant is not to be translated in a literal sense. Though ekant is needed, that literal type of ekant as a discipline, not as your practical reality. What is the absolute reality of ekant? To understand that God alone is. I'll give a simple simile. Sun up there, and there are countless reflected suns. And imagine those suns They are like individuals. They talk to each other and they express all the problems, etc. And when they have big problems, they said to the other reflected suns in the pots to stay out. I can't. But what is real ekant? Sun. Move away from all reflections. Realize I am the sun. Sun alone is. There are no reflections. They are unreal. God alone is. All the entire world you experience, they are magic show of consciousness. Just like the dream. The entire dream is a show of your consciousness. When you wake up, where is the dream? Where are the objects? When you go to deep sleep, where are you? The absolute reality, ekant. Ek alone is, non-dual, ant. Culminating state of attainment is ekant. And that you have to start practicing it wherever you are. That you are, firstly, not dependent upon others. You are led by your own karma. So turn your attention more and more to who am I? And that's the process of ekant. Until there, you have gotten into a mystic cave, absolutely silent forever. Eternity. And with this I will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.